The Adventures of Feluda by Satyajit Ray. The Mystery of the Walking Dead, Part 1. Didn't you once tell me you knew someone in Goshaipur? Feluda asked Lalmohan Babu. We, the three musketeers, had just visited the Victoria Memorial and come walking to the river. We were now sitting under the domes near Prinsep Ghat, enjoying the fresh breeze and munching dalmut. It was 5 o'clock in the evening. Yes, Lalmohan Babu replied. Tulshi Babu, Tulshi Charan Dasgupta. He used to teach mathematics and geography in my school. Now he is retired and lives in Goshaipur. He has asked me to visit him more than once. He loves my books. In fact, he writes for children himself. A couple of his stories were published in Shandesh. But why are you suddenly interested in Goshaipur? Someone called Jivan Lal Mallik wrote to me from there. His father's called Shyam Lal Mallik. I believe the Malliks were once the zamindars of Goshaipur. What did Jivan Lal Mallik write? He is worried about his father. He thinks someone is planning to kill him. If I can go and throw some light on the matter, he'll be very grateful, and he'll pay me my fee. I knew the letter had arrived this morning but had no idea about its contents. Now I remembered seeing Feluda looking thoughtful and smoking quietly after he had finished reading it. Why don't we all go? Lalmohan Babu sounded quite enthusiastic. Look, we are both free at this moment, aren't we? Besides, I think we'll enjoy a visit to a small village after all the hectic travelling we have done in the past. To be honest, I was thinking of going too. Mr. Mollik said he could not have me stay in his house. There is some problem, apparently. He has spoken to a relative who lives 3 miles away. I could stay with him, but then I'd have to travel in a rickshaw every day. It struck me that it might be simpler to stay somewhere within the walking distance. That's why I thought of your friend. My friend will be delighted, especially if he hears you are going to join me. He is a great admirer of yours. Lalmohan Babu wrote to his friend the next day, and Feluda answered Jivan Lal's letter. Tulshi Babu was so pleased that he wrote back instantly, saying that the Goshaipur Literary Society wanted to give a joint reception to Lalmohan Babu and Feluda. Lalmohan Babu was thrilled by the idea, but Feluda put his foot down. Leave me out of receptions, please, he said firmly. No one must know who I really am and why I am visiting Goshaipur. Please tell your friend not to tell anyone. Rather reluctantly, Lalmohan Babu passed the message on, adding that he was perfectly happy about the reception. With this event in mind, he even packed a blue embroidered kurta. We had to take a train to Katwa Junction and then a bus to get to Goshaipur, which was 7 miles from Katwa. Tulshi Babu was going to wait for us at a provision store near the bus stop. His house was just 10 minutes away. On our way there, I saw a palanquin from the bus. This surprised me very much, for I didn't know palanquins were still in use. Feluda and Lalmohan Babu were similarly taken aback. I wonder which century these people think they live in, Lalmohan Babu exclaimed. I hope Goshaipur has electricity. I had no idea the area was so remote. The conductor of the bus knew where we wanted to get off. He stopped the bus before the provision store, shouting, Goshaipur, Goshaipur. We thanked him and got down quickly. The elderly gentleman who came forward to greet us with a smile had the word ex-schoolmaster written all over him. In his hand was an ancient patched-up black umbrella. On his feet were brown canvas shoes. On his nose were perched his glasses, and under his arm was a very old copy of the National Geographic magazine. He was wearing a kurta and a short dhoti. On being introduced to Feluda, he winked and said, I did what you said. I didn't tell anyone about you. You are only a tourist. You have lived in Canada for years. Now you want to see an Indian village. I thought of this because it occurred to me that you might have to ask questions or visit places unseen. A tourist can claim to be both curious and ignorant. No one's going to be offended by what you say or where you go. Good. I hope you have books on Canada I can read, Feluda asked with a smile. Don't worry about that, Tulsi Babu grinned. Then he turned to Jatayu. For you, my friend, I have arranged a function on Friday. It's going to be a small, informal affair, a couple of songs and dances, then you'll be presented with a citation and there will be speeches. The barrister Suresh Chakladar will preside. The citation is being written out by a young boy, but its contents, the actual words are mine. There was no need. You didn't have to. Lalmohan Babu tried to look modest. We wanted to. It isn't every day that a celebrity deigns to visit us. We saw a palanquin on the way, Feluda said. Is that still used here as a mode of transport? Tulsi Babu stopped to prod a young calf with his umbrella to get it out of the way. Then he looked at Feluda and replied, Oh yes, if you want a palanquin, you'll get it here. But that isn't all. We specialize in providing all sorts of things from the past. Do you want guards in uniform carrying spears and shields? You'll find them here. A man who spends his time getting hookahs ready? You'll find him here. A pankha puller? Oil lamps? Yes, we have got those too. But you have got electric connections, haven't you? Oh yes, every house has electricity except the one where it's most needed. What do you mean? The house where Mr. Mullik lives. All of us stared at him in surprise. Shyamlal Mullik? Feluda asked. Yes, sir. There's no other Mullik in Goshaipur. They used to be local zamindars. Shyamlal's father, Durlabh Singh, was an utterly ruthless man. People were terrified of him. Shyamlal himself did not stay a zamindar long, for by then the government had changed the laws regarding the zamindari system. However, he went to Calcutta, built a plastic factory and made a lot of money. Then one day he came home in the dark and tried to switch on the light. He did not know that there was a loose, exposed wire in the switchboard. He nearly got electrocuted. After spending a few weeks in a hospital, he handed over his business to his son, returned to Goshaipur and removed the electric connection to his house. If he had stopped there, it might have made some sense, but he decided to remove everything that was modern or Western. He gave up smoking cheroots and went back to hookahs. He stopped using fountain pens. His toothbrush was replaced by neem twigs. Every book in his house that was written in English was thrown out, as were all the medicines. Now he relies purely on Ayurvedic stuff. The only man to benefit from all this was the local Ayurvedic doctor called Tarak Kaviraj. And yes, Shyamlal's car has been sold as well. What he uses is a palanquin. There was an old palanquin in his house. He simply had it repaired and painted. He has appointed 4 bearers to carry it for him. There are many other things that he has started to do. You'll get to see everything for yourself, I'm sure. Yes, I probably shall. I'm here because his son asked me to come. I know his son is visiting him, but why did he want you here? Are you aware that someone is planning to kill Shyamlal Mullik? Have you heard any rumors or gossip? Tulsi Babu appeared quite taken aback by this. Why, no, I've certainly heard nothing, but if someone wants to get rid of him, you shouldn't have to look very far to see who it is. What do you mean? The same man who wrote to you. He and his father don't get along at all. Mind you, I don't blame Jivanlal. It can't be easy to deal with a father who has such perfectly weird ideas. After all, Jivanlal has to stay in the same house when he visits. It's enough to drive one mad. We reached Tulsi Babu's house just before 4 o'clock. His wife had died a few years ago and his sons worked in Calcutta. He had only one daughter who was married. She lived in Azimganj. Tulsi Babu lived here alone with a servant called Ganga. In a place like this, he told us with a smile, one may live alone, but there's no chance of being lonely. My neighbors and other friends in the village drop in at all times. We look after one another very well. Ganga was told to make tea as soon as we arrived. Feluda had brought a packet of good quality tea. That was the only thing he was really fussy about. A few minutes later, Ganga served us tea on the front veranda with plates of beaten rice and coconut, a typical evening snack in rural Bengal. There were 2 bedrooms on the ground floor, one of which was Tulshi Babu's. We were given a much bigger room on the first floor. 3 beds had been placed in it. One of its doors opened onto a terrace. I told Jivanlal I'd call on him at 5:30, Feluda said, sipping his tea, so I'll have to find his dark and dingy house. I'll take you there myself, don't worry. Shyamlal's house is only 5 minutes from here. But I hope you'll come back soon. I am expecting a few people later in the evening. They want to talk to Lalmohan Babu, and then I'd like to take you to see Atmaram Babu. Atmaram Babu? Who is he? That's what some people call him. His real name is Mriganko Bhattacharya. He can speak to the dead, get souls and spirits to visit him in seances. You know, that kind of thing. He's one of our local attractions. But I think he's really got a certain power. I don't laugh the whole thing off. I wanted to ask what had made him think so, but couldn't, for at this moment we saw the palanquin again. Tulshi Babu's veranda overlooked the main road. The palanquin was making its way to the village. As it got closer, Tulshi Babu said, "Why, Jivanlal appears to be in it." A man was peering out of the window. The bearers were carrying the palanquin in exactly the same style that one reads about, making a strange rhythmic noise. The noise stopped as they put the palanquin down. The man inside got out with some difficulty. Clad in trousers and a shirt, he looked terribly incongruous as he emerged. "Mr. Mitra?" he asked, looking at Feluda with a smile. "Yes, I am Jivanlal Mullik. Namaskar. This is my friend Lalmohan Ganguly, and that's my cousin Topshe. You know Tulshi Babu, don't you?" "Yes, namaskar. Do you think you could come to my house?" Lalmohan Babu stayed back to wait for his visitors. Feluda and I went with Jivanlal Mullik. He left the road and began walking through a bamboo grove, possibly to take a shortcut. "I had to go to the station to make a phone call," he said. "Is that why you had to take the palanquin?" Jivanlal gave Feluda a sidelong glance. "Did Tulshi Babu tell you everything about my father?" "Yes, we learnt what an electric shock did to him." "Things were not so bad in the beginning. He simply did not want to have anything to do with electricity. That was understandable, but now he's become absolutely impossible. You'll soon see what I mean." "Do you come here often?" "Once in every 2 months. To talk about business matters." "You mean your father still takes an interest in his business?" "Oh no, but I don't want to give up. I keep trying to bring him back to normal." "Have you had any luck?" "No, not so far."